Hello friends, it's Samantha, positivity guru, host of Coffee Talks with Samantha, in case you forgot. If this is your first video of mine that you're watching, I'm sorry, please watch anything else first. I'm just explaining what my life has been the past year and why I haven't posted anything in like months now. Now, I'm going into this to have a positive outcome and to hopefully feel like someone relates, not even just for me, but since the beginning of this channel, since day one, this whole shebang has been about spreading love and light and being the most genuine, honest, just real content, real connection. That's all I care about. You guys are my friends. That's why I always say hello friends. Like, I just want to let you know what's going on and what's going to be in the future. I swear I just swatted up a cloud of cat fur. Wow. This isn't for sympathy to any capacity. This isn't to make it seem like I have it worse off than anybody. I'm just sharing my experience and hoping to put in neon lights. If you're going through anything similar, you are not alone. Now, in order to properly get the context down of everything that's been me, this channel, whatnot, I have to rewind to about this time last year. I was living alone in an apartment and it got to a point where it was unhealthy for me to be alone, not to be TMI, air out all my dirty laundry, but it got to a point where I wasn't really taking care of myself, eating very little in the day and having like double IPAs for dinner so I didn't have to cook. It just, I didn't have the physical or mental energy to be the person for myself that I needed to be after everything with Ryan and whatnot. And I felt like, looking back now, I didn't see this at all in the time. Building this channel was almost like a mask to my healing, and that isn't exactly a bad thing. I just feel like I wasn't healing at the pace that like would have been beneficial for me, but at the same time I was helping myself and others through this channel, so that's what matters. I just feel like I was glazing over my feelings to just shout how I like was inspired to help other people feel, if that makes any sense. I just realized that this is supposed to be a get ready with me, and I've been talking already. Let's try this out. Here's some primer. I'm not gonna talk about the products that I'm using because then this will be like an hour and a half long, and that's probably already gonna be long. Classic Samantha always has the longest videos. So I just feel like in the process of moving out, having my filming, editing, and posting schedules slow down kind of brought me back into reality. And I mean, for better and for worse, because like I got to face a lot of the emotion that I hadn't been addressing, but at the same time, it started a mental health downward spiral. I like to call it the year of guilt. And this year has been the most overwhelming emotionally, mentally for me when it comes to feeling guilt. I genuinely feel as if every aspect of my life I felt guilty about something. To start where I just left off, moving in with my dad. And I've already talked to him about this, so it's not like I am exposing anything new that he's going to watch now and like not know anything about, but like I love my dad so gosh dang much. He is my rock, always has been and always will be. We are the same person. I'm just female and shorter and younger, so it only made sense, this whole move, for me to move in with him. It did help a lot. It was like the support that I needed, yes, but I had grown so independently living alone and then having like everything slip away from me in this like not feeling like I could physically take care of myself. Like, I've barely ever cooked myself dinner since I've lived in this house, and I feel so childish admitting that, but that's exactly what the guilt is surrounded by. I just always felt like a child again, and I felt so guilty that like he had to like pick up the slack, because like the next topic that I was going to move on to was work, but to mention it a little bit here, I kept the same job when I moved, and my commute went from 15 minutes to an hour, and that took a huge mental toll on me. If you see me do this, I'm just making sure that the camera didn't shut off because I don't have a viewfinder. But I was just so exhausted being in traffic for an hour, like just mentally exhausted from work, which is a whole different story, we'll get there. But then I would come home and like I wouldn't have energy to film, I wouldn't have energy to cook for myself, and I went pescatarian this year, which only made it more difficult for him. But I mean, he never complained about anything, he always helped me out, he always like tidied up around the house, and like I literally feel like I turned back in time to a 12-year-old whenever I was home. I would always be like, I know better, I can do better, but I physically could not actually do better. So not only was my living situation getting to me, this is where I film. So if I didn't have the mental energy to just take care of myself in the general human basic ways, how was I going to film to inspire others if I was barely inspired myself? It got to the point where like I had so much guilt about missing weeks, and like there was just so many weeks that I would try to come up with like, not excuses, just like trying to be inspirational about self-care and like, God, I just scarfed down a burrito bowl, which is why I'm burping all over the place, I guess. I filmed like 5, 6, not a lot of coffee talks in this house. That's also because like it was hard to schedule people to come here because I'm like already far away from people in New Hampshire, and now I'm far away from everyone in Massachusetts. Like New Hampshire is where most of Ryan's friends would be, and like associates and such. And like I'm grateful of the people that did come down like just for kicks, and like Ben from across the country. I mean, he didn't come to be on the show, but like he came down from New Hampshire when he was visiting to be on the show. Also, I'm aware this concealer is too light for me because my shade was sold out. The Jeffree Star concealer, my shade was the one that got stolen, so it sold out, and now I have to just make it work because I bought it and it's too light for my face, and I knew it was going to be too light, but I did it anyway. But I had guilt about like what the true basis of this channel being kind of slipping away, and not even by my own fault. Like it was just some people don't have the time or equal energy to drive an hour on a weekday or like weekend, just like do this and peace out and drive back up the hour or whatever. So I came up with other ideas for the channel. I just have been working on legal issues around it. For the time being, I just always felt so guilty that like I feel like it looks like I lost sight of what the channel was born to be, like, or was conceived to be rather. Like, God, I'm so pale now with these lights. Like, under my bedroom lights it looks passable, but now that I'm under studio lights, I look horrendous. I always felt like I was putting myself in a box, but I was also trying to take myself out of the box. Like I was trying to stick to the definition of what I thought Coffee Talks was going to be, but also let myself do what I wanted with the channel. And it was just like this rapid cycle of like nothing I did felt right for myself with this channel. And then like Anna posted a video about me and I got more people following me, and I just like I don't want to let all these people down now and blah blah blah, and there's just so much pressure that I wasn't ready to deal with. And then in comes Jamie, like the love of my life. I am always afraid that people will think that because I fell off the face of the planet, it's because I'm in a relationship, and it's truly because I'm just always mentally and physically exhausted. It was strange at first trying to rewrite the narrative of being only, or at least for the length of the beginning of this channel, Mrs. Bucket Hat, and then going into a new relationship. I mean, I kind of got over that quickly, but I wanted to have people understand that like the connection with Jamie is otherworldly, and just people that will get it, and if they don't, they don't, and that's okay. I think that was a bit of me overthinking, but I was just like afraid of judgment of like maybe moving on too quickly, because it's been like a year and a few months since Ryan passed, so I started dating Jamie, and like I wouldn't have been ready if it was anyone else but her, and like so that put a weird like pressure on my channel because I wanted to show her off, and like I didn't want people to think that I was like forgetting about Ryan, when like that's why I announced that I was dating Jamie in the 5 stages of grief, because or the 5 stages of grief video, because it's not about moving on and forgetting them. It's figuring out how to intertwine the love into your daily life and learning from it and using it going forward. And so that's why I feel like finding happiness again is not exactly a sin. So if anyone has judgments, I've talked myself out of considering their judgment. This is so all over the place and I'm so sorry, but this is the first time I've filmed in so long and I didn't really write notes like I usually do. I just kind of ran into this process and here we are. I've talked about the guilt with my dad, I've talked about the guilt with the channel. I'll have to get more into the channel after, but then came work. So I have been in the same position, or like at the same workplace rather, for 3.5 years. I really loved it at first, but this past year I've like grown to realize that it's truly not for me. I don't have any passion about rocks, and it's nothing against like anyone that I work with, and I'm still appreciative of all the opportunities I've gotten. I never felt like I was doing anything right, not even by the job, just like going into work being trapped behind a desk. To add on to that, for months in the winter, I was working a second job, which I had done many years. It's a second job. It was like a man cave store, and they are only open seasonally, so I would usually do that as my second job anyway. And I could usually pull it off because when I lived back in my hometown, my work was 15 minutes away in one direction, and then the second job was 15 minutes away in a different direction. I knew the job inside and out. It was really easy for me, and like I was a manager one year at a store, so the opportunity to work for them comes up again this year, and for reasons I will get to later, well, one of them is going blonde. I accepted because they were at a mall that was 15 minutes from my current job, but still an hour away from my house. I started working there almost every night, closing every night, at least weeknights. So that meant that I was out of my house from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., somehow having to make videos in between then. And it just was not working. Felt more guilty about that. I did that for a few months and ended up just physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, like my immune system absolutely tanked, and I did it for far too long. Like I really should not have worked there for as long as I did, but I was spreading myself so thin trying to have a social life, trying to film, working 2 jobs. Like I even made a video, or it was a live stream being like, make it work. Like I live streamed a video on my lunch break to try to have content for the week. Really wanted to make everything work, and that's where it went wrong, because that's when I shut down. The way that I described how my brain has felt for the past 6 months now is just electric scrambled eggs. Like I just always feel frazzled and not fully together. Even right now, just blending my eyeshadow, I'm just like... So again, that affected every aspect of my life, but I was really trying to get money and I regret it. And I stayed sick for weeks after quitting. Like I finally quit and it just stuck with me. I quit. Next week I had a work convention. The weekend after that I went to LA. The weekend after that my sister started doing, not even just my sister and her husband are my landlords, but they started doing renovations on the house, like redoing flooring, so I had to pack up each room a different week. So like it would be like the kitchen in the hallway and then my bedroom, and then like it would just, I would have to pack everything up to like get everything off the floor, and I was just so physically exhausted already from work, and like mentally exhausted from work, and mentally sad from not being able to film and like be social, blah blah blah, whatever. It just, everything, like I felt like I couldn't stop. I was just down this snowball going downhill, and then I started to feel better, and then my luck, I got into a car crash. I was driving to work one day and it was rainy. I saw another accident happen and then I was like, oh shit. And then before I knew it, everyone else was like stopping abruptly and I was the last one in the chain. I stopped, my car did not. I hydroplaned into the person in front of me and like I already suffer from PTSD and this just kind of made it so much more difficult. Like it was a whole different area of PTSD. I've gotten into car accidents before, but I don't think I had any after effects of them. But I think because I was already in a fragile state, like from pushing myself so far, it stuck with me, and anytime I would drive, like I was just constantly anxious and like stressed. And so like going to and from work, like going into work like that never worked out very well. And then coming home, I was just never in a right mental state. And then in the end, I would end up driving to Maine a bunch of times, whatever. And then I was starting to feel better again. And I posted this tweet because I was going to go home, make my sister cookies that she requested, film that, like that was going to be this video, like the life update video was going to be me making cookies for my sister because I love baking. I love making people happy with baked goods because it's such a simple way to make them happy. And I tweeted that in the morning, and then that afternoon I found out that my grandfather passed away in a freak accident at work. And if you've been here for a while, you know that those words have been said before. So having to relive a loved one pass away from a freak accident at work, I shut down yet again. And like, not in the same way, it was just I was numb. Like, I still don't feel like I fully accept that reality, and it's been a couple weeks. It's not real to me. I was more angry about the two people showed up saying they were police auditors and they were filming the whole ordeal, and we obviously got angry and they were provoking it more, and they posted it on YouTube, and like they have like 34,000 subscribers, so like I filed privacy claims, blah, 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 that's a whole thing. But like I was so obsessed with that, like I couldn't accept that reality, and it's still not sunken in with me. And it's just like all these things, it's like one after another, and I feel like any normal person could handle this, but me this year has not been able to. And I realized, I mean, somewhere along the way, it wasn't like after all this, that I feel like in order to heal and grow the way that I need a hard restart. With that being said, I'm moving. And for anyone else, this wouldn't be a big deal, but I am moving to Maine. As a person who's always been about so many things, I always have these big ideas and I never get to execute them because I just feel like I'm flipping you off. I've always been one to more so talk the talk than walk the walk. Like I come up with these great ideas and I'm really proud of them, and I have a hard time like executing them. And that is no one's fault but my own. I realized that this is the time that I need to stop doing that. So I started to try to distance myself from the things that made me feel guilt and navigate how to move forward instead of letting everything slide and affect me the same ways that they were, because that's what I would have kept doing. Like the way that I typically handle things is I just let it happen and deal with the aftermath, and then that's not healthy. This all kind of came from, obviously, I am in a long distance relationship. I'm not sure if I ever announced it, like my relationship is long distance, but it is. And I live 3 hours from my girlfriend, and we've always talked about moving in together once her lease is up. For a minute, it was going to be her coming down here, but we kind of decided that it made way more sense for me to go up there, and that's always been the plan. Easily 6 months since we've decided it. The more and more I think about it and the closer that it gets, like I feel like I give this credit to Jamie technically because she loves plants. She has a million plants. I can't wait to have many step plants. She was talking about repotting her plants because she even like pulled one out and like showed me the roots and how like awful they've gotten, and how she feels bad that the roots are getting all tangled and she needs to put it in a bigger pot. And I was like, if that ain't me. I feel like in order to make the positive growth that I so desperately need after everything is I need to uproot and fill a space in a way where there's no guilt and there's nothing that's holding me back, and in a brand new environment that I can flourish in. It's probably the most bold thing I've ever done, and it's just crazy to me because, again, I've always been one to be like, it would be awesome if I could do that, but will I do it? Probably not. I should practice what I preach a lot more often, I'm aware. That's kind of also what motivated me, is that I want to be able to be the person that I know I can be, and I don't think I can do that if I keep staying in the same situations that are holding me back. Not saying that like my friends, family, job, whatever, it's just like I need to be repotted and grow because I am stunted here, and I've always known that I didn't want to be in Massachusetts forever. So just so happened to work out that my girlfriend did the same exact thing. Like, she lived in Vermont almost her entire life. She moved to Vermont when she was like 2, so like she did the same exact thing. Like, she just got up, moved with her roommate at the time to Maine, and started a whole new life, and she said it's the best thing that's ever happened to her. So I'm trying to do the same because I genuinely feel like I need it. And I don't know if this will make any sense to anyone else. What I want to try to have you get out of this video, if anything, is to, 1, be aware that you need help if you don't realize it, because I was being consumed by all sorts of guilt from every aspect of my life. I don't think I even finished the work thing. See, my brain is not with me. I started performing less and less to my capacity at work, along with like not posting videos and whatnot, and I know that I could do better. I physically could not sometimes, and like my memory went to shit, and like that wasn't even my choice, but it happened, and I couldn't control it, and I just could never remember anything about like anything, and I'd have to look everything up again. Like, I felt guilty that my dad was babying me. I felt guilty about not doing well in either job. I felt guilty about not posting things on the internet. I feel guilty about not having a social life, and like I left all my friends in the dust because I can barely socialize with myself. I don't want it to seem like I'm running away from my problems either, because I'm grateful for those that stuck with me through all of this and are willing to see where this channel goes from here, because I think it'll be exciting what I have planned for like the whole coffee talks aspect. Again, I just need to figure out a lot of things legally still. Otherwise, I do want to try to do more things that are more from my heart and soul, because again, channel's all about being genuine and honest and at the same time inspirational, yada yada yada. So I don't want to always push myself to only put out Wednesday Wisdoms when there's other things that I want to do, and I feel like I have to stop myself. So you might see some different things on this channel, and I won't be offended if you leave because of that. I just want to be able to create what I want, to not be a hypocrite, because I'm always preaching for people to live their best lives, and I can never hold back, and here I am holding myself back. So I don't want to be a hypocrite anymore. I want to be able to live the life that I deserve. That's not to say that like Wednesday Wisdoms would ever go away. Like, they're still gonna happen. Like, it's just a matter of like, that's not the only thing you're gonna get. And I have been more open about my content too this year, like with the Halloween videos. I do have some Pride videos in the works. Like, I have my old girlfriend tag that I'm gonna post finally. Like, we filmed it at the same time as the Lizzie Borden video, so like that's old. I just want to be able to move forward from the situation that I got myself in, and I feel like I'm missing so many details. Another thing I wanted to mention that isn't super important, but like something that happened at the same time that kind of played into me not wanting to make videos, is that like I was just constantly having bad days and allowing it to get to me in a way where I would constantly treat myself, and it wouldn't always be like bath bombed. A lot of the times it would be junk food. So I gained a lot of weight, and I haven't been this heavy literally ever, and I was just letting it slide, and it's just it's not important, but it's another way that like I've been like physically uncomfortable because like I'm not comfortable in the skin that I'm in, and like a lot of my clothes don't fit the same way. And then I've been like health-wise uncomfortable because it took me so long to not be sick anymore, and I still feel like I have congestion problems from like my immune system tanking, and like now I snore so much louder and that disturbs my girlfriend's sleep and blah blah blah. Another thing, see, I'm all over the place, is that like since I got into a relationship with another female human, I've experienced some intolerance. Some from people I did expect and some from people I did not. So it's just been like, I'm not saying that like you should pity me or anything, like, like I'm not bringing all of this up to seem like woe is me, pity me. I'm just saying I feel like every aspect of my life that I was like trying to build back up and be happy and whatnot would be torn down by something. Okay. Boom! I finished everything off camera that I can't talk through because I was already feeling frazzled enough. I wasn't going to try to talk through putting on eyeliner and lashes, and it gave me a second to think because again I was getting frazzled and nothing was making sense to me. So I'm just gonna do a quick recap of things that I hope you take away from this video, if anything. Is 1, check in with yourself often. Know your limits, but still push yourself to achieve the things that you want to achieve, because if you don't, like, I know it's a delicate balance, but if you don't push yourself, you're not going to learn more, be more, achieve more. But if you push yourself too far, you're gonna end up like crashing and burning like I did. And then another thing is, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, I probably could have done well with like a therapist and all of this, but like my health insurance doesn't cover it conveniently. Like, it's still too expensive for me to do anything, but there was options. It's just like in the moment I didn't feel like I needed help, but if I checked in with myself I would have understood that I needed help, and then I would hopefully not feel guilty about getting that help. Another thing is, have no shame in what you know will bring you the most happiness. Like, I don't know if I made sense of anything, all of my reasoning moving to Maine. I know that I have to go this route in my life to grow in a bigger and better way for myself and for everything that I want to achieve. Like, I'm not going to achieve that in the same little pot with my roots, like just curling them up on each other and dying. Another thing is to never lose sight of the things that made you happy in the first place. Like, I loved filming, I loved editing, and even if it was like I felt like an unhealthy coping mechanism at one point, I still am so happy with where it's brought me today and what I want to do with it in the future. And overall, don't let yourself hold yourself back, especially if there are things that can be changed. It's not always going to be the easiest decision. Like, I know moving 2 states away might seem crazy to some people, and it's an easy decision for me, but the like process, like now sinking in that like I'm gonna have to get a new job and like find my place in some random new town. But that's the point, is that I need to get to know who I am again in order to grow in the way that I need to, because I've completely lost myself this year. And I mean, do what makes you happy. Be the best person you can be. Always look out for yourself. Be your #1 fan. Don't let yourself be consumed by guilt in every aspect of your life. But I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm excited for the things that I have planned for the future, and I feel like I've said that a couple times, but now that I know that I am choosing the right path, like I've had readings and different like spiritual services that have all pointed me to this direction also. So I know that not only do I feel like I'm on the right path, but so do the stars, bitch. I hope this makes any sense. I hope this is productive in any way for anyone watching it to learn from my mistakes. But with that, stay positive, my friends, and have a wonderful last day.